Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights. I am your host, Dearjames, and my amazing co-host, the Lady Jacqueline, is off this week, and I am joining you from the beautiful Austin, Texas. The word Austin means majestic, and we've been talking about auspicious encounters, these auspicious energies and times, and that is exactly the majesticness of this setting. And just to give a little recap of last week, the energies were out of time. This reset, renewal, and I just want to bring this up, this out of time, moving beyond time, and that to fly like an eagle. And that there was a completion and fulfillment of the promise, and the new begins. And again, auspicious encounters, fly like an eagle. And we're in the eclipse season. The eclipse was just yesterday. The new moon partial solar eclipse was just yesterday on the 25th of October. And literally, as I'm talking about that, I just looked up and saw the time on my laptop on the screen, and it's 10:01. And you're going to see how these ones, and then of course, the beauty of the zeros in the center, and this way through. And as you're joining us, so keep in mind these auspicious encounters, auspicious times, majestic, these double ones, and you're going to see how this is playing out and playing through with us. And as we always say, put in the comments that you're joining us and where you're joining us from. I can see Elizabeth is here from France. And right out of the gate, she says, what the heck is happening with the anger and angst people are throwing everywhere? So, yes, because remember, as the old falls, there is great fear. There's trepidation. There's two camps. Remember, there's two camps. And so we need to be incredibly mindful, and this is eclipse season. So Elizabeth, to answer you directly right off the gate, remember, eclipses amplify things. And this is the eclipse from yesterday. It's a new moon in Scorpio. So, and it's conjunct the South Node. And so that is going to be about what we release. The South Node demonstrates what we release. The North Node is where we're going. That comes up, that is going to be triggered on the 8th of November, literally election day in the United States. And so you can see the beauty of this, and I know it's painful where you're saying the angst and the anger. It's the angst, the anger, the resentment, because the old, and you're going to see this in today's energies, the old is over. It doesn't appear that way. I know that on the outside it looks like it's very strong and prevalent and regaining a foothold and so forth. It's not. It is It's like the burning embers. It's the last hurrah, so to speak, ha ha ha. It's that last hurrah of, they're saying, of a dying breed, of a dying age, a dying era. And people are fearful. They don't want that to happen. And yet there's a whole set of people. There's, again, two camps. There's a whole set of people that cannot wait for the new to usher in, to arrive, to literally have a foothold, to be the new reality. And so remember, as one ends, it's like a domino effect. Remember that word, domino. It's a domino effect. As one falls, the others lift. And that's where we are with this energy. Brigitta's joining us saying, good morning, welcome. And Elizabeth is saying, and how can I keep myself safe? I just got verbally attacked today and feel so broken. Remember, and this is for everyone. So Elizabeth, remember, and thank you for sharing that and for your openness and vulnerability. When something like that happens, it says everything about the other person. You being you being this heart-centered, receptive, gorgeous, beautiful soul. You're shining light. You're shining beauty and joy and surrender and kindness and goodness. And so, for lack of better words, what they're saying to me is, and thus you become, quote unquote, an easy mark. An easy mark meaning of demonstration, of being. And they're demonstrating their fear, their anxiety, their angst. And so, and you can simply by being, when someone's joyful, when someone, you can trigger people. You can, because you're just going about your business. You're just radiating joy, goodness. And yet they are radiating. And so there's a clash, clash of titans is what they're saying. This clash. You're not responsible for their energy, their action and response. Solely yours. So they're saying maintain your integrity, maintain your balance, maintain your surrender and your serendipitousness. That was a hard one to get out. Because what you're rippling out is goodness, joy, auspiciousness. The star, you're going to see how all of this is playing. We don't have to do that in any way. We don't have to place it upon others. We don't have to force it. However, be mindful as well, simply by radiating. They're saying to me, simply by radiating, you can piss someone off. That's not your fault. That's not your problem. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to be the steward of joy, of goodness, of happiness, of light in a way that is just being conscious. They are the custodians of their experience. So don't take it on. That's for everyone listening and specifically for Elizabeth. Do not allow their anger, angst, fear, resentment, whatever it is, don't let that become your burden or your responsibility. It's not yours. Brigitte is saying, I'm feeling the karma release. My body has been burning up. Yes, see, this whole, remember that it was reset, renewal, advance. So we're advancing. When you know. And what that means is, you know where you're going. You know that you're of the light, working with the light, in joy and happiness and surrender and peace. And that's your responsibility. That's what you're the custodian of. Theirs is theirs. So let it, and they're showing me the embers burning. It's the phoenix, the ashes. So we've got to go through the death of something. We've got to go through the release of it, the death of it. But the promise is that we're reborn. It's reborn. It's renewed. So what's dying? What's in the embers? The old, the anger, the purifying. It's the temperance card. The impure iron ore goes into the forge, we pound it, and all of the impurities come out. And what ultimately is received is the purity of what remains. And that's where we are. Elizabeth's just saying, thank you. As soon as you said that, I laughed. Right? See, keep the joy in it. This is true. This is, and this is so on point for the theme today. They said the theme, it's October 26th, so 10/26/2022. And they said stillness in knowing. So it's simply to have the resoluteness, the stillness, the knowing, the fortitude. It is not an aggressive energy. It is not one that we have to force or push upon others. That's what they were doing. That's the old. Out with the old. It's gone. Because it's stillness in knowing. And then they said hyphen unity. So here we're coming into this stillness and knowing in the unity, in the oneness of everything. And again, in the example that Elizabeth shared, yes, we are going to come up against or bear witness to people's trauma, drama, resistance, anger, but it need not be ours. We need not take it on. We can simply be in the stillness of knowing, in the unity of knowing. Because the first thing that they said, and we've got two hexagrams playing, so there's two beautiful energies. The 26, which is controlled power, stillness. So look at uncontrolled power. There's Elizabeth's example, right? This anger and, being confronted and yelled at. That's not controlled power. That's running roughshod. That's being aggressive. That's being unchecked, unbalanced, undisciplined. And then we also have the 8. The 2 and the 6 become an 8. And so we have uniting. And this particular hexagram 8, it's a very ancient, simple character that originally depicts two people side by side. And so there's a beauty in the fact of, so see how when we're in harmony, when we're in a stillness of knowing, we don't need to express anything. It's like the truth. It requires no explanation, no defense. The truth is the truth is the truth. It speaks for itself. So we have this, when you're in unity, and both with ourselves and with others, it speaks for itself. It doesn't need, you can bear witness to, I was in Italy years ago as much younger, and we were walking after dinner, and there were two married couples, husband and wife. The two women were arm in arm. The two men were arm in arm. And they were strolling and after dinner. And there was such a beauty and a peace and a grace and a love. And I remember saying to myself, that's what it's meant to be like. There was no judgment. It was just unity. It was absolute beauty and unity and camaraderie and friendship and just grace. And that is the ideal. And leave it to the Italians, leave it to the beauty of Italy and the Italians to demonstrate that. There was absolutely no oddness or judgment in any of this. So we'll see how this is all playing out. Again, taking your questions and your comments live. So please share your comments, how things are resonating. If you're having a direct experience like Elizabeth and you have a question or a comment, share it in the comments and we'll incorporate it throughout the show. So in the theme, so we have hexagrams 26, which is controlled power hyphen stillness, and we have hexagram 8, which is about uniting, this very ancient symbol that depicts two people side by side. the first thing that came with this, as we move into these, is they started giving me the lyrics. It was the song that played, and it's by C.C. Winans, and it's the Alabaster Box. And it said, and the lyrics that I heard was, when he wrapped his love all around us. And of course, the song is speaking to Master Jesus. And so there's an awareness in this moment of that effect, that you don't know what went into this experience. You don't know are the lyrics. I'm going to post them in the show comments. But it's about the alabaster box. It's about the anointing. It's about the promise and what it is like when he wrapped his love all around us. So there's this moment. Remember, they keep talking about auspiciousness, auspicious encounters. And so there's this beauty in these lyrics in this song, and I'll post them so you can see the entire lyrics of the song and then an actual video of the song being performed. It's quite magical. And so the alabaster box, and it was about the oils that Mary Magdalene anointed the feet of Master Jesus with, and the love that permeates. And so, and remember, coming together, auspicious encounters, coming together. We're coming together with this energy. We're coming together with the ideal, with the reality being the ideal being the reality. And that was the first song. And let me just bring up this beautiful quote. It says, "The way does not speak, it reveals by deeds and events." So remember, it's like the truth. The truth speaks for itself. The way does not speak. The truth doesn't require us to speak. It simply reveals. It reveals by deeds, by events. It reveals. The way does not speak, it reveals. And so as we're going about our day, as Elizabeth shared with us, as she's going about her day, and Elizabeth, this is for everyone. It's specifically for you, but it's also for everyone. Once the initial encounter, you've moved from it, look to see what are the energies underneath it, both for yourself, but also them. Can you see their fear? Because their anger, the anger and the acting out is on the surface. It's an old energy. It's an old way of being. What is it that they're truly dealing with? And I may have not made this clear, but they're bringing it back to me again. You were the recipient. See, the alabaster box. You were the recipient. In other words, you were able to receive that and purify it, dissipate it, not engage it, rise above it. So you were they're saying to me, you were the chosen one in that moment to, again, the forge, the temperance card, to receive that, not to become it, but to allow it to filter through you so as to purify and extinguish it, to remove it. And this is a choice we have in this moment. Do we react or do we respond? Especially during eclipse season. Because remember, we're eclipsing things out. It's a south node. We're eclipsing things out that are of the old. And as not fun, and I understand, as not fun as that encounter can be in the moment, the beauty, the grace and the beauty of the moment, hexagram 22, the beauty and the grace of it is that you are the vessel, you were the receptive force that was able to receive it and transmute it. Phoenix, ashes, renew, rebirth. In the moment, I understand. So just keep going with that. So, and here's why. Let me bring up this beautiful image. So here we are. This is the 5-pointed star. It's the 5 petals of Venus. And it represents the Queen of Heaven. And so when you see this image, there's an absolute beauty to it. It's auspicious. It is all revealing. They're saying self-renewing. And it's an ancient symbol. So the pentagram is the 5 petals of Venus. It is the orbit. It is the orbit of Venus around the Earth. It is I believe, the one and only symbol where you can make the 5-pointed star without lifting your pencil. It's one of these that it's very auspicious, but this is the orbit of Venus, the morning star, the evening star, the Queen of Heaven. And it's this, and the beauty of it, the purity of it, the beauty of it, the auspiciousness of it. So remember, this is the ideal, this is the promise of the new. Keep shining, keep incorporating, keep shining this level of energy, this light, this purity, this goodness, no matter what, come what may, no matter what. There's that beautiful saying, and attributed to Master Jesus, and I don't mean this in a derogatory manner, but it's the thing of, you need not cast pearls before swine. What that means is simply be the pearl. You don't have to say, you don't have to argue, you don't have to challenge, you don't have to convince. Simply radiate this Queen of Heaven, 5 petals of Venus, starflower energy. And allow that, because again, think about this. You come into an encounter, they're raging and crazy and whatever, and you simply are. You don't even, you just radiate a sense of peace and unity and calmness. They will remember that. They will receive that. You need not sully your aura yourself. You need not do that. And even in the intensity of the moment, you're capable. You have a higher depth and grace and gratitude. And they will receive that. And you are able to, and just as they are able to, they're going to be able to purify themselves with that energy, with that light. So again, we have the alabaster box when he wrapped his love all around us, and this 5-pointed star of Venus, the Queen of Heaven. These are the energies that are playing out right now based on the hexagrams 26 and 8, these current energies. There we are. We're trying to hold the signal here. See, we're holding it together. And Elizabeth said, I did end the confrontation by saying, I hope that you treat your next client with much more compassion and understanding. Exactly. Simply grace. You handled yourself with grace. And that will be the prevailing light. That is the prevailing light. Because item number 3, they said, the auspicious nature of the way. The auspicious nature of the way. Not my way, not your way, not that person's way, the way. And the way is auspicious. Austin, majestic. Alabaster box, 5-pointed star, the Queen of Heaven. So in our daily lives, they're talking about the fact, seek and ye shall find is what I'm hearing. And so when we seek out in our mind's eye, in our meditation, in our daily actions, in our responses, not reactions, responses, especially during this time. Because we're moving, number 4, we're moving beyond the nature of the conflict. You can't make this up if you tried. I mean, I sit down and I download and I listen. And here are the notes. I mean, here they are. And number 4 is foundational. We are moving beyond, in quotes, the nature of the conflict. At the top of the show, what did Elizabeth share with us? A conflict, an encounter where there was a conflict. And we're moving beyond the nature of the conflict. And they said the old ... ways pass away. So the old and the old ways, this old energy, old way of being, all of this old passes away. We know this. And so, because we're in the know, stillness in knowing, be one with the new. Be one with the energies, the purity, the energies of the auspiciousness, the magic of the alabaster box, of the oils that were contained in the beautiful rituals of that. The 5-pointed star of Venus, the petals of Venus, the Queen of Heaven. Be in unity with that. Because as we move, I was journeying, I was coming from Colorado to Texas, and all along the way, and yes, it's Texas, and it's the Lone Star State, and that 5-pointed star is their symbol. And it, all along my path, all along my route, I was driving here, and these 5-pointed stars everywhere, all along, and I just kept smiling because I'm like, this was coming in prior, the petals, the 5 petals of Venus. And all of a sudden I'm journeying to a state, and the journey, the path to it, was all of these 5-pointed stars everywhere. And as I arrived here, I'm at a dear friend's house, and I looked over and she has a domino, and it's the double 1. And I kept looking at it, and I kept going, I know there's something about this with this week's show, with this week's energies. And I kept going, they're together. And I'm going to post this. I'll post it in the comments in the thread so you can get a visual of the image. But it's literally, imagine the domino with the double 1s. And it's in perfect, and it's in alabaster. It's like an onyx alabaster. Perfect unity, togetherness, oneness. And there's a joy, there's a rich element of relationship, of harmony, of unity. And this was plain, and this moving beyond the nature of the conflict. The old ways pass away. So what they're saying to us is, we are literally coming into this, the double 1 of the domino, this alabaster, unity, oneness with, and remember, above, so picture the domino, and when it's vertical, it's a 1 up top, it's a 1 below. So as above, so below. The beauty of this messaging. And then number 5, they said, the new order, the new order emerges, it prevails. So the new order emerges, it prevails. It's what's on tap. Not the old, the new. And so we have all of this. So I'm gonna bring up because I remember from 2 weeks ago, I just want to bring up the image. Remember, this is the new. Here's the image of the carousel, the big tent, the hot air balloons, the rising, the whimsicalness of it, the enchantment of it, the beauty of it, the youth of it, where anything's possible. And we move from the caterpillar to the butterfly. We take flight. We are no longer grounded in the way, meaning held down, held back. Anything is possible, and there's great joy. because we're moving beyond, we're exceeding the limitations of the past. And, not for naught, we've waited a long time, millennia. We have waited a long time for this moment. And thereby, we come into this knowing, a stillness in knowing, a stillness in the unity of it. Okay. And we're back. This is interesting. We've been talking about this with the beta software that we're utilizing, and the interruptions, the challenges, the conflict, the interruptions. And what's the message? Persevere. Fortitude. Respond. Don't react. See the purpose in everything, because everything is purposeful. So even in the auspiciousness of this, we're in the transition of it. We're moving. We're on the bridge. We're moving over. And this is how we keep ourselves whole. This is how we keep ourselves sane. This is how we receive the higher octave, the promise, the way. Let me just incorporate, I believe there's a message. I apologize, I'm missing some of the messages because the system is coming in and out. That being said, let me go to hexagram 26 and speak to you about controlled power. And think about this. This is the hexagram for today. And then in relation to Elizabeth's example of the confrontation, hexagram 26, Ta Chu, is controlled power, which right off the bat tells you you hold power. It's how do you yield it? Its action is amplify. So controlled power, magnified, amplified. Its hidden influence is propriety, which means to subordinate. So to use this power, to use this force wisely and correctly. Its underlining cause is gathering together, network. Hexagram 8 is unity, coming together, gathering together, network, so as to amplify. And it says your vital force is not wanting, only waiting for you to tap it. True power need not be demonstrated, as creative energy is restrained beneath the mountain of keeping still. So see, we don't need to react, especially right now. Not to react, respond. Ta Chu focuses on the power of silence and stillness. While others are running around demonstrating their power, there's the confrontation. Someone demonstrating their power, yelling, screaming, being confrontational, challenging, rude, angry. While others are running around demonstrating their power, one who is strong has no need to prove anything. Controlled power has propriety as its hidden influence because a will under the sheer steadiness of a mountain allows it to become incredibly powerful. There is also a need for timing in appropriate expression. Another's insecurity is no match for the power of silence. Let's just repeat that for a second. And I love this. You can't make this up. Look at how Elizabeth, in her literal experience, is the energy of this week in this moment. Since controlled power follows innocence, all that is learned from patience and non-action is now ready to be harnessed creatively. Because again, another's insecurity is no match for the power of silence. That will speak volumes to them. It's even in a sense that state of shame. It shames them. They feel their own shame. The silence will allow them to feel shame of their own uncontrolled power. When the will is in the service of acceptance and the good of all, this deliberate intent is unstoppable. The message we deliver is amplified because our inner truth radiates as the embodiment of Tao. As I said at the top of the hour, Elizabeth's state of being, her joy, her innocence, her good nature, it radiates. It's the embodiment of Tao. Combining holding firm, holding steady, holding to heaven's way, the Queen of Heaven, to heaven's way, and nurturing others, this is the hexagram of the true sage. When water meets a dam, it continues to rise in power until it overwhelms whatever blocked its flow. When you renew your willingness to marry to your Tao daily, so in other words, when you commit to this on a daily basis, this state of being, this stillness in knowing, this unity, the 5 petals of Venus, the Queen of Heaven, the alabaster box, you become a reservoir for enormous creative expression that benefits all. You can draw on a power that need not be demonstrated, but is just so. It speaks for itself. Its simplicity makes everything easy, effortless. It's truly, and it talks about becoming the master of your response. So you're able to connect to this higher power, to this unified force, this, and its power, its limitless power. How are we utilizing it? How are you utilizing it? How are you keeping it in check? How are you taming it? And taming it meaning taming yourself, staying balanced. When innocence is present, it is possible to tame. Innocence cultivates virtue, yet virtue renewed daily ensures a state of innocence. The Master said, the perfected nature, sustaining itself and enduring, is the gateway of life. 1001 at the beginning in the show is the gateway of life. The double zeros representing God, source, spirit in the center. The double ones of the domino, the double ones of the 11, the ones are the gateway of life. An innocent perspective allows you to approach the gateway or threshold of perception to become the master of your experiences. And this is so true. Elizabeth gets to choose how this affects her. We get to choose how we see, how we experience something, how we react or respond, how we receive. What's the gift in it? We get to, so that we become the master of our own experiences. By taming your response, you are able to tame experience. Controlled power is the hexagram of the true sage. And that messaging is coming along in all of this. And they showed me the domino, the double one domino, and then the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, the star of Venus. And they had the two next to each other, and I'll put this up later. And they said, these two elements, the double one domino and the 5-petal star of Venus, the 5-petaled flower of Venus, Queen of Heaven, equals unity, destiny, triumph. So these two things together, these two, this divine marriage, this divine unity, this divine oneness. And remember, as above, so below. The energy, the spirit, the energy, the promise of Master Jesus and ourselves. Unifying, coming together, flowering. Unity, destiny, triumph. Triumph. not conflict in the sense of, like not despair, destiny, triumph. And all of the energies today, so let me just come back to this really quickly. So all of the energies today are speaking to the promise, these auspicious moments and times. We are in eclipse season. So remember to be mindful, to respond, not react, to stay in a state of stillness and knowing, to demonstrate your power in the most auspicious manner, in the most auspicious way. Because that is what is going to lead you to triumph, to success. The challenger, the old way, it's done. No mas, no more, finito. And let me just bring in hexagram number 8, which is about uniting. It's pi, and it's uniting. And we've had this before. Its hidden influence is 23, to split apart so as to regenerate. Its underlining cause is 14, great possessing, to shine, to radiate. So this is what we were speaking about. And it says, when you merge the world in here with the world out there, your destiny is revealed. They're talking about unity, destiny, triumph. Not failure, faith, triumph. And it says holding together or uniting is something that plays out in the way we pursue and are pursued by others, but also how we find a sense of union within. Remember the domino, the double ones, the unity. Where the previous hexagram, she, army, had to do with organizing the will around the collective, pi, uniting, places the focus more on uniting the diverse aspects of the individual or unifying all aspects of the individual with others. You cannot know the love of another until you discover self-love. You are called to be unified with others, with life, and most importantly, with all aspects of who you are. So there's this beauty in the uniting that, and the holding together means uniting. It's this beauty where we're being asked and called to unify ourselves, to come together. And there's a beauty with where I am right now. I'm at a dear friend's house. Her mother was a dear, dear friend and colleague of mine. And she passed a few years ago. And this is the first time that we're gathering, and another dear friend is coming this coming Sunday. And what are we doing? We're uniting. We're coming together for the first time in years. We speak and see each other all the time. But there was a knowing this morning, and one of the things that our dear friend Pam, who has passed, one of her key words was stillness. And it hit me this morning very strongly, this stillness. She used to always say, in order to hear, be still. Sit and listen in stillness and quiet so that you're able to hear. And so this is a really beautiful moment personally on a micro for myself in the absolute auspiciousness of the moment, the serendipitousness, these stars, the 5-petaled star of Venus. Here's the Queen of Heaven meeting with the double ones with this gateway, coming together, unifying, unity, a unity of experience, a renewal, and that we are will all be together. That, for me personally, is incredibly auspicious. And so I'm sharing that with you because, again, that's what's on offer. This is what they're wanting everyone to see, because it is about the journey, not the destination. We will get there. However, the getting there, the destination, is the embodiment of the journey. It's to see that we get the destination, the ultimate victory, the ultimate triumph, the outcome, in hexagram 10, treading, in the walking, in the journeying. How? through stillness, through controlled power, through stillness, through listening, through unity, through uniting. Because how are we altered by the experience? Other numbers, today's numbers culminate in 15. 15 is about humility. 22 is about grace and beauty. 6, as we know, 2022, a 6, is about conflict or destiny. Destiny meaning the fate of time. And we're moving out of time, we're moving beyond it. So the arc of destiny is forward. That's the promise. So I'm just asking them if there's anything, if you have any final comments, please put them in. I'm just listening to see, because they're wanting us to realize, they're asking us to realize what's on offer, is what they're saying. They're asking us to contemplate, do we recognize, do we see what's on offer? If we don't, or if we're having a problem, a challenge doing that, stillness in knowing. Sit in stillness and listen. Look for the serendipity, for the signs that are around you. Like on my drive down here, the number of 5-petaled stars. And it just had me beaming because I know how auspicious it is. I know that there's something really remarkable about that symbol. And that it's, the way it's coming to me is that it's mine, it's ours. It's for us. Then to see the double ones, the domino, the double ones, to know that that is for us. To be in such oneness, such unity with ourselves, higher source, and no matter, this is not from a religious standpoint, but, the promise that is spoken to about Master Jesus. There are many, whether it be Buddha, Allah, Master Jesus, God, Source, Symphony. There's a promise. And that promise is demonstrated by the alabaster box, by the 5-pointed star. So by the Queen of Heaven. And to realize that we're moving beyond the nature of the conflict. We need not get caught up in it. They're saying to me, when the ship is sinking, do you go down with the ship or do you swim? Do you save yourself? Do you go and swim? Do you seek a way of saving yourself, and that's very true. And what do they say about water? You don't flail and fight and everything. You float. You surrender and you float. You bob. You let your body, your being, bob on the ocean, on the water, so as to sustain, survive, triumph. Because to be in conflict, to be in challenge, to fight in that way, to fight against the tide, to go down with the ship. Okay. Maybe perhaps it's noble, but they're giving us the example of that's float. Save yourself, float. So auspicious times, and I know, I hear you, I see the news, I see it, I read it, I know the world events that are occurring, and it is not to be ignorant or naive of them. However, the messaging, the very strong messaging is, we're moving beyond that. We need not engage it in a negative manner, in a manner that is reactive. We can simply sit in the stillness of knowing the outcome is assured. The old ways pass away. A new order emerges and prevails. And that's auspicious. I mean, that in and of itself makes me just, buoyant and happy, and because that's the truth. And we need only, they're saying that we need only walk the talk. We need only walk the walk the talk. So that's where we are. There's this great abundance, this auspiciousness, this fly like an eagle. And I just want to I'm going to bring this up so that we see some of these images. It is the images, and I've been showing this in the last couple of shows. It's the star card. It is the auspiciousness of, and this star that you see, it's the 8-pointed star. This is associated with Venus. So the 5-pointed star is the orbit, the flower of Venus, and this 8-petaled star is associated with Venus. So here's the star card. It is the soma, it's the abundance, it's the new, it's the everything that's being delivered to us. The middle card is the judgment card. It is us receiving. Look at how in the purity of our being, in our quote-unquote nakedness, we are heralding, we are receiving those gifts. We are being called the trumpet. We're being called to attention to receive. And what we're receiving, there's the 4 of cups on the left. It's not the 3 cups down below. Look, he's pensive and moody, and and he's looking at the 3 cups. She is looking at the 3 cups, dismayed, annoyed, agitated, because these things aren't working. These things aren't doing it for me anymore. These things aren't sustaining me. And the 1 cup, the cup coming in from the hand of source, the hand of heaven, is in a certain way being ignored. However, that's the cup that's filled by the star that the temperance card, the judgment card is speaking to, is heralding. There's a new cup. It's like there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new cup. There's the way, the new. And that's arriving. That has arrived. It is playing out as we speak. And let me just bring up the lighthouse. This is Turnberry Lighthouse. It's a photograph by Red McGregor. It was sent to me by a dear friend, Alicia. Again, look at the auspiciousness, the radiance and the auspiciousness of the central sun, the light illuminating. And the lighthouse represents safe harbor, safety, home, and look at the beauty, the verdant green and the rocks and Mother Earth and everything. And you can see the two, as above, so below. Here they are, and the lighthouse, it's as if the two are speaking. The sunburst behind the clouds and the lighthouse are speaking together. So imagine between them, 1, 0, 0, 1. This lighthouse, this way, this gateway, as they spoke to earlier. There it is. So thank you all so much for joining from beautiful Austin, Texas with me, and from around the globe. I have a special guest that's going to be with me next week. And so we are going to come to you live together next week. All right, everyone. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. We will be joining you. I'll be back next week in Austin with a special guest. And until then, be well, be secure, be confident, and be still in your knowing. Be still in your knowing, because it is all about unity, and we are arriving in the new. We are in the new, and it is about the auspicious nature of the way. So thank you all for joining and being patient with the technical difficulties. See, in the light of challenge, everything is purposeful. And thank you all for sharing your comments, and thank you to the unseen, the Spirit, Source, and Symphony for the beautiful tapestry, the unseen tapestry. And we're going to do a show on this. How Elizabeth in France leads off the show this week with her experience and how intricately woven it is to the actual energies. So just be mindful. Remember, you're in eclipse season, and the next one culminates on the 8th of November, and they have an arc of about 6 months. So just be really, really mindful, and be really, really kind with yourselves. All right? Be resolute in your knowing. And we'll see you next week. Thank you all so much for joining.